fellow Kenyans, today I have decided to address you. I have decided to address you because there is a situation in Kenya. What is the state of affairs in Kenya? The state of affairs in Kenya is renaissance. What does that mean? That means it's a time for reset. It's a time for rebirth. And why am I saying this? I am saying this because things have come to a knot. Vitu vimefika kwa kizingimkuti. We are between a rock and a hard place. And why? People are asking, even just last Sunday, the disgraced deputy president was about to announce the direction he was going to take in politics for his people in the mountain. But he was unable to announce. The rumor everywhere is that impeachment is looming. That the fifth, is it the fifth? Yes, the fifth president of Kenya is about to be impeached. That it's just a matter of time, that it's coming. On the other hand, there is the election in Addis Ababa of the chairman of the Africa Union Commission. There are three candidates there. There's a guy from Madagascar. There's another one from Djibouti. And then there is our own, Raila Amolo Odinga. A lot of things are tied to that, but then again, not. Remember, we just went through a very, very serious revolution, the Gen Z revolution. The Gen Z revolution almost took out President William Samoei Ruto, but it was cooled down. It was cooled down by one Raila Amolo Odinga, because he decided to tell the Gen Zs to tiga miaki, to Liza Boli, let's wait a little bit. And then he went and he talked to William Samoei Ruto, and they formed the broad-based government, so to speak, and things cooled down. But let's not forget, I'm saying it is tied to this election in Addis Ababa on Saturday, because you remember Raila expressed his interest for this position way before the Gen Z revolution. And so, why am I saying we are in a state of renaissance? It's because whether we like it or not, we've found ourselves there. Our country has been independent for about 60 years and some change. We have not made significant progress. Why? Because of one thing that has really, really bedeviled Kenya: tribalism and corruption. Rushwa, nchi ya kitu kidogo. That's what has really held us back. Corruption has meant people loot the resources of the government, the money that belongs to the people, the money that is supposed to build roads, build churches, build hospitals, build the schools and the infrastructure to make the country what it is supposed to be. But that money, we have perfected in looting it, especially when our person is in the state house. So Corruption and tribalism has got us there. Now, very briefly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you one thing. That this tribalism started way far. But before I tell you about it, let me tell you the objectives of this video. At the end of this video, you will understand what is going to happen after Saturday. That is the objective of this video. It will be very clear to you. The direction will be very clear. You as a politician, you as a citizen, whatever you are, even as a businessman, you will be able to figure out the direction the country is going. So let's go back to where tribalism started, and it's a very small history. We all know about it. Here comes President Jomo Kenyatta. Who made President Jomo Kenyatta the president? It was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga when he said, "Not yet Uhuru without Jomo Kenyatta being released." Remember, the British wanted to make him the prime minister, and they wanted to make him even the first president of Kenya. But he said, "No, I'm passing it over to this man, Johnston Kamau, to take over, to lead us. Because we are not free until all political or Mau Mau are released." That's what Jaramogi did. But like it is said in politics, you've read all those books, 48 Laws of Power, I don't know, the Art of War, that when someone takes over, you must kill all the kings, you must kill all the kingmakers and the kings in waiting. So what did Jomo Kenyatta do? He fell off with Jaramogi. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was a gentleman. He resigned and he wrote a letter and he said he cannot be part of it. And then the president, in his own macho kind of attitude, he takes a rally to Kisumu, and in that rally, he wanted to rub it on the Kisumu people that he is the big kahuna of the country. And he was saying it. He was speaking very tough in Kiswahili, in Kikuyu. He was really tough. But guess what? The people in Kisumu weren't going to take it. They stoned his limousine with rotten eggs. And what did they do? They opened fire on the Kenyan citizen. And that started an acrimony between the Luo and the Kikuyu. Now, fast forward. Jomo Kenyatta dies in 1998, and President Daniel Arap Moi takes over right there and then. And Moi had to do certain things to stay in power. And one of the things that Moi did to stay in power was to make sure that he has put the Kikuyus in check. So Moi was really the master of politics. They called him the giraffe because he saw very far. And he was able to keep the Kikuyu out of his power for 24 years. Moi himself was also a tribalist. Moi made sure that he put his own people in government such that you cannot dare undermine his government. Yes, there was an attempt to undermine his government, and it was thrashed. But, and by the way, that also brought another acrimony towards the Luo. Now, who removed Moi from power? It was the art, the political art and the political skill of Raila Amolo Odinga. He joined KANU and he destroyed KANU from within. And why did he do that? Was that his real intention? I put it to you, that wasn't his real intention. A lot of people have given credit to Raila for really being cunning and really knowing. They thought that he actually went to KANU to destroy KANU. No. Raila had actually joined Moi in order for them to come up with something that was universal, acceptable to everybody. But what happened there? It was the politics of betrayal. Moi betrayed Raila. Because where was Moi going? To the dinosaur. he appointed Uhuru Kenyatta to be his successor. And that caused a lot of problems. Saitoti, a lot of people left. They left Kanu because they could not stomach what Moi did. Fast forward, Raila goes and now supports Kibaki. Why? It can be argued because Raila had reached the end of the road. He could not be president. He realized he could not be president. But still, the decision to support Kibaki was pegged on the hope that Kibaki was going to do Raila and therefore the Luo people right. But what did Kibaki do? He reneged on the MOU, right? And so Raila was again left in the cold. And then we go on to the election of after Kibaki. By the way, let me also say this now that I have that opportunity. Was Kibaki really a great leader as it's being said? In my opinion, no. Kibaki had an opportunity, and it has been said elsewhere, to unite the country. Kibaki had the opportunity to stab this mongrel of tribalism, to stab it and deflate it and kill it once and for all. But did he? No. He actually balkanized the country, the mountain. He made sure the mountain stayed what it was. It's like the presidency has to be factored in with the mountain. And so Kibaki did not do that. Why else am I saying Kibaki was not necessarily the great president? Let's be honest. When Kibaki ran against Raila in 2007, Kibaki stole that election and swore himself in at night. It caused an acrimony in Kenya. And with that acrimony, what did Ruto do? Ruto ejected the Kikuyu from Rift Valley. That ejection was ruthless. It saw Kikuyus burnt in a church in Kiambaa. And what did the Kikuyu do? Did the Kikuyu really fight the Kalenjin? No. The Kikuyu killed the Luo. Wherever Luos rented, the Kikuyus killed the Luo. In Naivasha, wherever they found Luos, they got Luos out of their vehicles, mostly because Kikuyus are affluent. They have the matatus, and they were able to identify the Luo, and they killed the Luo. Truth be told, that happened. They went to The Hague. Uhuru was acquitted. Ruto's case was not thrown away. What happened? Witnesses disappeared. And so that is the status of the situation. Then what did the Kriegler report come about reconciliation and about that? They, or not Kriegler actually, the Kofi Annan Commission. They brought peace. They said, share this government. Raila got half of it, or supposedly, and Kibaki remained with the other half. What happened? What happened there was that they were supposed to go through certain stages. Excuse me. If I remember correctly, the last stage was supposed to be reconciliation. That did not reach. We never reached there. In fact, I don't even think we really quite clearly settled resettlement and compensation. Because if you look at this resettlement, Luos were never displaced, really. Who were the people displaced? They were the not nomadic, but the entrepreneur Kikuyus who are everywhere. They're welcome to be everywhere because they are entrepreneur. They were kicked out of Rift Valley. And it appears that the focus was only to resettle the Kikuyu. But what about the compensation of the Luo? It was never done. There are people whose lives were maimed for life because they lost loved ones in a very brutal way. That was never addressed. Now let's go to fast forward. I know you guys are wondering where I'm heading, but I'm heading there. There comes the election of, I believe it's around 2013. Ruto and Uhuru teamed up. Did they win? That question has not been fully answered. Because in Kenya, it is known that elections were manipulated. And as we are speaking right now, even the people who manipulated that election are now speaking. You remember the tyranny of numbers? Was there truly a tyranny of numbers? I put it to you, there wasn't. There was inflation of numbers. Because the same person who coined the tyranny of numbers, his name is Mutahi Ngunyi, is now saying in his videos on the Fifth Estate that it was inflated, that the Kikuyus are not as many as it's supposed to be, as it seemed. He's saying that if the numbers for the Kikuyus were inflated, therefore then it is very possible that the numbers of voters in the other areas were suppressed. There you go. You don't have to go far to know the truth. It was widely suspected. The people who went to court tried to say that, but it was suppressed. We go to the election, is it of 2017? It was annulled because it was not free, fair, transparent as it was supposed to be. Yes, Raila did not go for the second time because he said the referees were the same. The result was going to be the same. So Uhuru won with, I don't know whether it was 80% of the vote or 90% of the vote. And Uhuru became president. One thing I want to tell you right there is that Kenyans continued to be lost. All through these years, Kenyans were being killed. Our history is rife with people being eliminated so that others can rise to power. Kenyatta did it. Moi did it. Uhuru did it. And as you bear me witness, Ruto is doing it. People are disappearing. We can go into the names of the people who disappeared, but it don't matter right now. We just need to acknowledge that people were killed. Bodies were found. And one of the bodies that was found, killed in a very brutal way, was that of one guy called Chris Msando. He was the IEBC. I don't know whether he was the CEO or the technical guy in charge of IT. He was killed because that election had to be rigged. Now, I'll come to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I started this video by telling you that what is the state of the Kenyan affairs? Renaissance, rebirth. Why? Because the day after Saturday, a lot of people are asking, what is going to happen? So, I decided to bring my magrosot. You see this? It's a magrosot. What is a magrosot? A magrosot is an instrument that sees the future by looking at the past. Yeah, I can see the future by looking at the past. Or seeing ahead through introspection. Meaning, you look at yourself. Look at the mistakes you have made. Look at the things you have done in order not to repeat them. Surely, we cannot be like the warthog that forgets very quickly. There are newspapers, NTV, KTN, Standard, Nation newspapers. There's a lot of newspapers that Kenya has had over the time. Those newspapers are stored somewhere. with the information that we must never forget. We must never forget. We must not brush things under the table. Therefore, we must look at the past to know how the future is going to be. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin by telling you this. A lot of questions have been asked. What will happen after Saturday? What will Raila do? That question has been asked many times. A lot of people cannot even move forward until they know about Saturday. One person is the guy from Wamunyoro. He can't even drink tea right now because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He can't move. And there are others, just not him. There are others. What is happening in Parliament today? The court has ruled that the opposition, the people who are, the Azimio was actually supposed to be the majority party. That was known. It didn't take a rocket science that if people like Jalango ran with ODM ticket, they cannot cross over and vote with Ruto or support Ruto and be counted as being on Ruto's side without resigning and going back to the election. But guess what? He's just an example. There are many others who went on the side. Ruto, once he won, he decided to solidify his side. And so the speaker announced that Ruto had the majority. And for a long time, that's been the case. But they overwhelmed the opposition, and the opposition used the phrase that is commonly known as mwenye nguvu mpishe. Yes, Raila went to the streets, protested, almost got killed by orders from some of the people who now are not even in government. They ordered to shoot his car, not caring whether by shooting his car, he would be okay. That happened not long ago, guys. Hey, come on. Let's be truthful. All right. So now, what will happen on Saturday? Let me tell you what will happen. I have written and I've done videos about my relationship with Raila Amolo Odinga. I've known Raila as a friend, and I've known him slightly before 2007. I hosted Raila here in Tallahassee in 2007, and I spent time with him, one-on-one. I spent more time with Raila than the press spends time with him, because he was here for several days, and I was his chauffeur and almost everything. So we talked. And one thing I gathered, for those who do not know, is that Raila is a very simple person who at times is guided by the political wave that is happening. Some people think that Raila is the one that causes the political wave. No. Not all the time. Sometimes, and actually often, Raila rides the wave, going by the flow. He does that. That is one of his techniques of politics. And so I asked him, what would you really want to do for yourself had you not been a politician? Please tell me, what would you really like to do? And you know, some of you don't know, I'm an occupational therapist, and I'm not going to go into a lot of that, but a lot of people think occupational therapy is about a job or training you to do a job. No. Occupational therapy is about what's your purposeful activity? Can we return you to that? How can you get back to do what you're doing? So occupational therapist, it is innate in me as an occupational therapist to ask someone, what is it that you would rather do? Because a lot of people are in jobs that they don't like. A lot of people are doing things that they didn't plan to do. Some hate it. Some people are in relationships that they didn't want to be in. And it's very hard to leave, right? So I asked him, Agwambo, let's be real. You've been a politician. You've been an engineer. You've started a big engineering company that makes gas cylinders. And your company is selling a lot of gas cylinders. Your father was a renowned politician. You all come from a family of politicians. You are a leader. But what would you really, really want to do if you are free? I asked him that question. And ladies and gentlemen, he told me he would rather serve Africa as a Pan-Africanist. Raila loves Africa, and he wanted a united Africa. He wanted to serve in any capacity if he could get it. That time, we didn't even know. He wasn't talking about the AUC chair. I don't even think that position was there then. He just wanted, that's what he wished he could do, to be just somebody who tries to make Africa work together to solve the economic, structural problems, financial problems, to make Africa work. That's what he wanted to be. And so that journey started like that. When I found out that, we talked and we formed a lot of ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to brag here, but I did document it. And for some of you who don't know, I'll pay my bills in a little bit, but you can see I wrote a book about it. This book right here was inspired by that discussion. And this book, I decided to write it to actually empower him with more ideas how he was going to market himself to be elected the chairman of the AUC. So for those of you who cares to read, you can buy my book on Amazon and you can read what I was trying to advise him. I'm not saying he's going to follow it, but a lot of the things that are in here are very authentic, are very innovative, and they are solutions that Africa can adopt to become united. Anyway, we will talk more when I'll pay my bills here in a minute. But let me get back. So we've talked about that. That's what Raila wanted to do. So let's get back to Kenya. Raila lost in that last election, according to the Supreme Court. He was declared the loser. Ruto was declared the winner. And it was very hard to accept. And he said he doesn't agree with it, but he will accept that that is the decision. And he tried to move on. I say he tried because he went on the streets to try and weaken the presidency of Ruto to the extent that Ruto left. Remember, he wanted the servers to be opened. He wanted the votes to be counted properly. Raila didn't mind even if there was another court that could review the decision of the Supreme Court of Kenya. But he reached a dead end. And when that realization came to him, considering his age, he said, I'm done. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow countrymen, whether you're from Central, whether you're from Coast, whether you're from Luoland, Luyaland, Borana, Kisii, I am putting it to you that Raila said he was done with politics and he was going to try and become a Pan-Africanist, the leader of the Africa Union Commission. He put his interest there. By doing that, Raila, in his heart and in his intention, exited the Kenyan politics. Period. Okay? That was that. And at that time, if you remember correctly, Mr. Wamunyoro, the man from the mountain, was still in government. Ruto is the president. There was almost everybody said, yay, go for it. Get out of our Kenyan politics. Some people say that. But some people who know it, Raila genuinely prayed that perhaps this is the one thing he should get in order to make him feel like he has achieved something for himself. It didn't have to be for Kenya, but for him to do what he wanted. That's what Raila wanted. Then here comes the hate. The hate that could never leave Raila behind. The hate that cannot leave the Luo behind. The hate that Raila wanted Kibaki to stab and leave. And actually, the hate that even President Uhuru Kenyatta realized that we don't have to live like that when he himself made friendship with Raila. That hate, there has been attempts to get it to go, but no. A lot of the Kikuyus still hate Luos. Yes. And Luos don't hate Kikuyus. A lot of Kikuyus hate Luos. And I have friends who are very close to me who are Kikuyus. And we talk. And despite their hate, because I talk to them and I try to ask them, tell me why. Why is it like this? Why are you saying that you will never support Raila? They tell me they will never support him because he's a Luo. I have their names. I can give them to you. But let's maintain confidentiality here. That is the case. Some of the people hate Raila so much, they say, let him even not get the AUC. In fact, just go to one of them platforms in Facebook called, I think something Kenya Politics Punchline or something, that has almost 500,000 people following. Just read there. You will see Kikuyu after Kikuyu after Kikuyu after Kikuyu are saying, where will you be watching Raila lose the AUC? Where will you be watching Raila lose the AUC? Let him lose and go to Bondo, right? That's what they're saying. I'm not saying all of them are, but a lot of them are saying that. So there's still a lot of hate from the mountain. Why perhaps are they saying that? They claim it's because Raila cooled down the Gen Z fight by supporting Ruto. But what could Raila do? You are going to become the chairman of the African Commission. Are you going to go with the background of your country on fire? All those people who are protesting that Raila should have not gone or should give Ruto the trouble, they are not Raila. They did not win the election. Raila is the one who ran against Ruto. So if Raila has said, I'm letting it go, let Ruto be the president, let him continue, I've left it, I'm going to AUC, why should they cry more than the bereaved? Huh? They shouldn't. And therefore, peace should have prevailed, should and must prevail in Kenya in order for Raila or the Kenyan candidate to be successful. So that was the purpose. And so that's where we are. Then comes the issue about Gachagua impeachment. He had to be impeached. If we are to stop this mongrel of tribalism, Gachagua had to be impeached. Forget about him laundering money. Forget about him taking his brother's property. Forget about all that. To me, the only reason that Gachagua it was right to impeach Gachagua was his statement about shares. No, Kikuyus don't have shares in the government. Luos don't have shares in the government. Nobody has shares in the government, not even the president. The Kenyan constitution is very clear that once you've ran the race, once you have defeated your people, you must lead them. You must lead them. And you cannot lead them with the divisiveness. That's just a fact. You must come together. Even here in the United States, we normally hear the Democrat, the Republican have ran. And when the Republican has won, he becomes the president of the Democrats too. Ruto had to be the president of even the people who did not vote for him. And the people who did not vote for Ruto, they are meritorious. They deserve to be appointed to certain things. You cannot say simply because your people did not vote for Ruto, therefore this very qualified person, be them a lady or a man, cannot lead. Okay? You cannot say that. So Wamunyoro, the man from Wamunyoro needed to be impeached. But look at what that impeachment has caused. The Kikuyu have said, you have disrespected us, you have disrespected our vote, you lied to us, and so on and so forth. So what are they doing now? They are praying that Ruto's government fails. And Gachagua has gone and was about to announce his party to try and get Ruto out. But I guess he understands that something is about to happen on Saturday, and he cannot announce his cards before that. So he's waiting. Okay? Gachagua is waiting. What happened in Parliament today, or rather what happened in the Supreme, or in the court, High Court, a ruling was made that the opposition is actually the majority. And now what is happening in Parliament with the exuberant opposition? They want the seat of the majority to be given to them. And people are thinking, where does Raila stand on this? Raila is done. He has no opinion about what happens in Parliament. You can do whatever you want, but don't bring his name on it. Because when and if he is elected as the AUC chair, he doesn't want to participate in that politics. You will need to be able to move along on your own. Don't be orphans. Be the people you are. Okay? So that's the situation, Renaissance. So let me tell you this. In Microsoft, as I'm looking ahead in my Microsoft, what is Raila gonna do when he's elected? Nothing. Is he gonna side with Gachagua? No. Is he gonna side with Ruto? No. So therefore, where does that leave Kenya? You can do whatever you want to do. Ruto can survive with his politics. Align your cards. It's like a chess game. Align your what do you call it? Bishop. Align your castle. You know, align them and continue to try and survive until the next election. We elected a president. We need to survive with him. If we don't like him, let's organize and reach an election. Okay? That's what I'm seeing will happen. It's my opinion. But what will happen if Raila doesn't win? He will return. And yes, he will retire. He will not get into this dirty politics. He will aim to live the rest of his life peacefully without too much ado about the politics that you have refused to change. Change the politics. Stand for what you are. Vote for someone because they are capable, not because you're following them. That's why we are where we are. A lot of programs are not running. Institutions are poor, are weak, because you put in weak people. You did not think about that. But now is the time for you to reset and do that. Okay? So that is what I'm asking you to do. In short, I'm asking you to turn this thing around and look at yourself and look at the mistakes you have done so that you don't repeat them. But before I go, because it is the time for renaissance, why are things where they are? Aha. Things are where they are because, guess what? The man upstairs, The man upstairs has a way of getting back at you. Those who killed Msando, remember what Msando's wife said at the funeral? God is watching. The former president, I don't know whether you participated in killing Msando. The current president, I don't know whether you participated in killing Msando. But a lot of people died during your reigns. And I don't know whether you are peaceful now. Ruto, are you happy how things are going on at the State House? Are you really happy? I truly don't think so. Uhuru, how are you doing in retirement? Are you really healthy? Unakula nyama? Kaboiro hapa? Una-enjoy? Are you enjoying? Or are you suffering? Are things following you? Maybe this is the time that because there's a lot of acrimony, Gachagua leaving government, people leaving, Ruto facing near impeachment, Uhuru now is back into the mountain and the people are beginning to realize he was right. Perhaps as much as they want to remove Ruto, perhaps this is the time that some truths need to come out. We need to know some answers to these questions. Last but not least, to my Luo people, you know, you have a little anxiety about what is going to happen, right? When I'm looking at this Microsoft, they shouldn't. Why? Because look at the past. Look at the past. How did Raila become the person that we consider the leader of the Luo people? I know Raila is a nationalist. He worked very hard to be a nationalist, by the way. But how did he do it? How did he become our leader? Did somebody tell us that they're giving us Raila? Did they? Nobody told us. The Luo, there is some natural mystery that happens that the Luo know. Somehow they find out. And somehow they follow one person. Nobody tells them who that person is. And so I'm hearing people like Babu Oweno, they are crying that, oh, Raila is supporting this guy, the governor of Sakaja, the governor of Nairobi. He should be supporting me. Babu, you know, I'm a little older than you, and so if I tell you to sometimes grow up a little bit, I don't mean that in a wrong way, but just chill. Because you are a national leader. And even today, polls have come out saying that you are the best performing MP in the entire country. So, imagine you are the best performing MP. And a vacuum is about to come out from Luo land. Are you going to go for the governor? Or are you going to go to lead the Luo people? Man, you're a mathematician and an accurate scientist and a lawyer. If you cannot figure that out, then perhaps you need to call me and we can talk and I can lead you. But do not cry for things that are not meant for you. Go for things that you can grab. You know, I can brush my darubini ya kuona mbele na nyuma. I can brush it and I look at it more. And what I see is what I see. You are a national leader. Just like Raila was a national leader, the MP for Langata. When he dropped the MP for Langata, he did not go to be something else. He went for the presidency. So whether it is this time or next time, it don't matter. But chill. Let Sakaja do what he needs to do. Chill, Babu. Chill. So those are my thoughts, guys. And before I go, let's pay some bills here. You know I'm an author. I've showed you that I wrote this one. One currency, one Africa. You see? You can read this. You can buy it from Amazon. I also wrote this one here, Hyena and the Rock, right? Read the story about this hyena. My daddy used to tell me a lot of stories, man. And when I became a publisher and an author, I decided to put them down on paper. Nice story here for the kids. Please buy this book on Amazon and read it. And some of you know that I used to be an actor in Nairobi, and I loved thrillers. So I wrote this one, Sandra and Charlie. It's a thriller structured right here in Tallahassee, Florida. Sandra and Charlie, a stage play. Please, you can buy this and read it. Another one here that I just wrote this one because I loved Fela Kuti so much. And again, because I'm a theater guy, I put this one on paper. I put it in pen and paper, and I wrote a musical play. Fela Kuti, The Trial. Please, buy this one. Sambaza to the West African friends and anybody who likes Afrobeat and Afro jazz. You will like this one, okay? And the last but not least, to my Luo people, you know, a lot of stories have been told. And by the way, a friend of mine, whom you know him very well, his name is Okia Okoiti Omtata Obango Namasese. He wrote a book, a play. It's a play, Luanda Magere. And we produced that play at the French Cultural Center many years ago before I left Kenya. It's a great play. I mean, you'll be entertained. But if you want the whole story in a book, buy my book here, Luanda Magere, the full story of the Luo legend. So ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me. The rest is up to you. Chill. Saturday is just 2 days from today, and we are electing a great Kenyan to lead the AUC. If he gets it, great. If he doesn't get it, okay. My thought is that it would be kind of weird that they would elect the chair, who is actually an Arab, to be the AUC chair for all Africa. And then the law is that the vice president must come from the vice chair must come from an Arab country. Don't you think that's weird? By that alone, I think you don't even have to use the Darubini to know what the outcome is going to be. And when the outcome is good, what will you do, Kenya? What will you do? I wish I was there. I wish I was at the airport to receive the next chairman of the African Union Commission, His Eminence, Raila Amolo Odinga. Good luck, my brother. Good luck. Beba Pole Pole. We are here to look at the future, and we will be able to look at the past, and we will be able to write about what you will do for Africa. I know you will do a lot, because you did it with the Kibaki government. Those roads that we see there, we know that Kibaki is not an engineer. And when you're a minister for roads, you know you did some magic there. That's what we wanted, and that's what we want for Africa. We want Africa to be the united African states of Africa. Cheers, guys.